track. Bone Lemon, yeah, it's Bone Lemon. Watch this YouTube channel or you're gonna die. Yeah, watch Bone Lemon, yeah, you got me feeling like Len, yeah, yeah.
Hello everyone, welcome to Bone Lemon. Today, we'll be doing a book review. Now, the book under review today is Never Let Me Go by Katsuro Ishiguro. Damn it, Jebediah, it's Never Let Me Go, not Never Gonna Give You Up. Now, a quick heads up before I get into the review, there will be spoilers. So, if you plan on reading this book, do not continue watching unless you like spoilers, So with that out of the way, let's get to the review.
Yeah, watch Bone Lemon, yeah, you got me feeling like...
The setting of this book is near past, present, or near future Great Britain in an alternate historical timeline. While this context isn't outright shared, the reader slowly begins to realize this as the story unfolds. There exists a class of human-like creatures who are literally identical to humans in every which way, except for the fact that their sole purpose is to donate organs to the general population once they reach adulthood. A grim, bleak, and meager existence, though one that only sneaks through the cracks of the narration.
Yeah, watch Bone Lemon, yeah, you got me feeling like...
The narration is entirely told in a colloquial, conversational manner by the main character. It's not very interesting.
Yet it's captivating.
The secret to this lies in how the comfort and relaxation of the narrator evokes a deep nostalgic feeling in the reader.
In me, at least. I am the reader though.
Kathy, the narrator, tells the story of her and her friends' lives from the perspective of someone who has already lived it and has come to terms with everything and has smoothed out all the creases. As I said about the narration, the plot itself was not interesting and it felt rather sparse. Traditionally, when reading a book, the more information I receive as a reader, the higher the stakes and the more excited I was to reach the climax of the book. In this case, the unraveling of the donor system and further the reality of being an organ donor, whatever, felt very anticlimactic. Given that the novel could operate as a dystopian novel, I expected something like The Hunger Games or Divergent. Suicide, revolt, escape. Instead, I got complacency from the characters, just accepting their own fate. In a sense, this was more evocative than any form of action or shallow entertainment could have been, and a stroke of genius from Ishiguro.
Yeah, watch Bone Lemon, yeah, you got me feeling like Len, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah.
So, perhaps I've been browsing r/late stage capitalism and r/communism 101 too much. No, Jebediah, I'm not a neckbeard or soy boy. But I couldn't help but see the state of modern society in the book as a critique of our current science-oriented capitalist fantasy of progress. Robots doing TikTok dances, Elon Musk turning space travel into a business, the lack of privacy and disregard for our personal information by tech companies masqueraded as personal customizations or algorithms for you. Jebediah, why do I get advertisements for Cocoa Pebbles when I just talked to my mom about getting some? Are you seeing this? The absurd love affair between the powers of science and technology and the power of capitalism produces and will continue to produce many weird things. And Ishiguro hypothesizes an entire subservient class of humans devoted to providing organs to the general population as an extension of this current issue. Even the people like Madame and the Guardians who seek to humanize them are scared and disgusted by them. The organ donors, the people who produce the means of survival for the general population, are ostracized, isolated, and looked down upon. In the case of Kathy and her squad, we see an immensely coddled class of organ donors. The government-run camps for other organ donors, mentioned offhand, sound intensely gruesome. The people who put the system in place are only briefly mentioned, but we understand it to be an unquestionable aspect of current reality. Although it seems inherently crude and unjust, it has entered the collective consciousness as the norm. What is most fascinating is how easily the organ donors can slip in and out of society, walking through towns, going into stores, ordering food at restaurants. They're just like the common folk, yet the same ruling class that created them and created their inferior status has also created the division between them and the rest of the population.
Yeah, washbone lemon, yeah, you got me feeling like...
Perhaps I'm grasping for straws here, but I saw this as how the ruling class of America has effectively separated the working class along racial fault lines. The Republican Party has hijacked the white working class vote while repeatedly enacting policies against the interests of their constituents. Likewise, Democrats have the minority working class vote, yet do nothing to support these constituents. And of course, ideological debates and arguments ensue that do nothing to advance the material conditions thus... Okay, Jebediah, you're right. This is a book review, not a country review. Ew! In Never Let Me Go, the separation between orgs and the rest of the population could be seen as a metaphor for racism. The orgs are different from the rest of the population by an immutable characteristic. However, in every which way, they're the same as the general population. This one characteristic, though, leads to completely different treatment and a completely different outcome for them.
Yeah, washbone lemon, yeah, you got me feeling like...
The way Ishiguro talks about love in this book is beautiful, if also disturbing and dystopian. As a review on Goodreads.com by Trevor says, in this book, love has a proper time, a time that may be lost and missed. Once Tommy and Kathy decide or realize they're in love, the only option they seek is a deferral from Madame for a few years before they have to donate their organs and inevitably die. Not only is it depressing that they seek permission to love, but that the time to love has inevitably passed. The time to love would have been their childhood or teenage years, when their perception of the world and the trouble it held were relatively small. When love was something once pursued out of enjoyment, not out of survival. This sense of longing for moments past and the past in general is present in the mood of Kathy's narration, although she describes her adult life, the moments when she realizes all of this with somber acceptance. Like what Trevor said, love is inherently ephemeral and fleeting. In the life of organ donors who come to realize that their own lives are also ephemeral and fleeting, once they become adults, love is a last resort. When we think about love, the first association is typically romantic love. But there exist many types of love: platonic love, parental love, from parents to kids, and from kids to parents. The love of a passion, like Cocoa Pebbles, Jebediah. Love of an object, could also be Cocoa Pebbles, Jebediah. Love of yourself, love of Jebediah. However, there's no love from the organ donors to their parents, and no love from the organ donors to their children. A particularly poignant scene is when Kathy is listening to a song called Never Let Me Go, coincidentally the title of the book, when she's younger, and she pretends to hold a baby in her arms, cradling it, and something that she would never experience, because, as organ donors learn from a young age, they can't have kids. In this scene, Madame walks by the room, and coincidentally, Kathy turns around and sees her, and Madame is sobbing. Kathy's unable to experience the other kinds of love beyond platonic and romantic. Thus, the entire story of her life revolves around the platonic love she has for Ruth and Tommy, and the eventual romantic love for Tommy. But familial love, the love perhaps more intrinsic to human nature than all, is the one she can never experience.
Yeah, washbone lemon, yeah, you got me feeling like...
Having no connection to the past through a parent or the future through a child, Kathy is trapped in the present. Ironically, there's only mention of the past and present by Kathy, never really the future. Maybe that is all a novel can do. A novel can predict the future, speak of the future, incorporate the future into its story, but ultimately the only future is what the novel imparts into the reader after they leave the book.
Damn!
Jebediah, come on, it's not that cheesy. I'll give you a little bit. As you, or Jebediah, have pointed out, I haven't cited any apparent flaws or negative parts of the novel. As I've said though, the plot itself is not super interesting or intriguing, yet the reading experience is nothing short of enthralling. I I'd recommend this book to anyone and everyone. Although I read it in the heat of the summer, this book is probably best read in the deep loneliness of winter. Thank you all, and... What? No, Jebediah, I'm not thanking you. You've done nothing but give me shit. Anyway, if you'd like to follow me on Goodreads, I'll link my account up here. Maybe it's up here. Wait. There, up here. Have a good day. I recommend reading this book, if I didn't already spoil it for you. And Bowman out.